I love watching films. However, as I often do not have time to head down to the cinema, and back then I didn't own Netflix, I would watch various films on streaming site 123 Movies for free. So the site works just like any subscription service with the catch that it's free. Just search for any movie you wish to watch and click on it. These sites then earn revenue mainly through pop-up advertisements. However, after my class on intellectual property rights, I started becoming more concerned about whether 123 Movies or any other free streaming sites were legitimate or whether they went against any copyright laws. This was especially so after the High Court ordered internet service providers to block access to TV box applications that allow users to stream films in November 2018, with the Asia Video Industry Association citing that these apps flagrantly infringe copyright by acting as gateways to website streaming pirated content, and they impact production and distribution of legitimate content. So then I asked myself, how do these sites infringe copyright law in any way? So first, let us look at what the Copyright Act in Singapore is. According to the Ministry of Law, copyright is considered intellectual property right which gives creators rights to the original work, or in some cases, the employer or commissioner depending on the terms of agreement. And copyright arises automatically when the subject of matter is expressed, a copyright owner required to provide evidence to prove his ownership. The Copyright Act then aims to protect these original works that have originated from the author, as well as protect the expression of ideas in tangible forms such as an author's version of a boy meets girl story. And under this act, LMDAO works are protected. LMDAO stands for literary, dramatic, musical, artistic, and other works. And under Section 26 of the Act, it states that only the copyright owner can perform crap, not literally. Firstly, they can communicate their work to the public, reproduce their work, make an adaptation of their work, publish the work, and perform the work in public. However, the duration of copyright for any literary, musical, dramatic, and artistic works only lasts during the lifetime of the originator and another 70 years after their death before it falls into public domain, which consists of all creative works with no exclusive intellectual property rights applied. For the case of 123 Movies, the site has been making copies of films, publishing on their site, and communicating the work to the public by broadcasting it. And for that, it is clear that 123 Movies has infringed copyright. So what is copyright infringement? Copyright infringement would be when someone communicates, reproduces, adapts, produces, and performs a work in public which are exclusive rights only to be done by the copyright owner without their permission, such as by failing to obtain licensing permissions. And under Section 31 of the Copyright Act, any one person committing one or more of these acts without permission is considered copyright infringement. Copyright infringement primarily takes on three main types. Firstly, primary infringement. Secondly, infringement by authorization, when a person can within his control prevent another person from committing primary infringement but fails to do so. And thirdly, secondary infringement, which is when a person commercially distributes infringing copies. Looking at this, it seems that 123 Movies has committed secondary infringement, as they have been distributing works to gain revenue and for commercial purposes. However, even if the site did not operate for commercial purposes, these sites will still be committing primary infringement, as they have reproduced work and communicated it to the public without permission, which infringes on the exclusive rights of the copyright owner. There are some defenses against copyright infringement, such as fair dealing, which considers these 5 factors. However, commercial distribution were less likely to be considered fair dealing due to its purpose and nature. So 123 Movies is unable to argue fair dealing. Even if these sites did not operate for commercial purposes, 123 Movies and many other streaming sites would be unable to argue fair dealing since it copies the films wholesale, going against the amount and how substantial the part copied taken in relation to the whole work would be. By uploading these films, it will also have an effect of dealing, which may result in the loss of market for legitimate content, as people will choose not to pay to watch a film anymore. The Copyright Act also does apply to the internet, where LMDAO works put up online are able to obtain copyright protection as well, and the author is only able to perform crap, and copying such works online is also considered copyright infringement. However, it can be argued that the Copyright Act works to a limited extent, as people would be able to find alternatives to stream free movies, and that it's hard to control copyright infringement online with tons of streaming sites still available. And although this is the case, the laws put in place have still been able to fulfill its objectives to protect owners' rights, as it still regulates the way copyrighted content is created, distributed, and accessed, ensuring that the boundaries are drawn that ensure a balance between disseminating creative works to the public to ensure adequate access to them, or still protecting publishers and businesses who may rely on their creative works for business. An example is in 2014, the Singapore Parliament passed a bill for copyright owners to have greater ability to protect their content online, which allows them to apply for court orders for internet service providers to block access to online websites that clearly and flagrantly infringe copyright. Therefore, the implementation of the Copyright Act has allowed Singapore to clamp down on these sites, allowing them to regulate the infringement of copyright, fulfilling its purpose to protect the works of the originators.